I hope you've had a good day. Let's just start. Um, the days can be pretty busy, so let's just start by bringing our hands together in prayer hands and bringing the thumbs up against the top of the rib cage, the breastbone, the sternum, whatever you want to call it, and just gradually pull up, lifting the heart up towards the ceiling. And if you are comfortable with closing your eyes or having a soft gaze or having your eyes wide open, it doesn't matter. But if you can close your eyes, maybe you can focus better on being in this room. And we do that with our breath. It's so easy sometimes to do that with our breath. Sometimes it's difficult, but if we'll take the moment to close our eyes and maybe sometimes even hide in the bathroom for just a couple of minutes, we can calm ourselves and bring ourselves into the present moment a little easier by breathing in through our nostrils, taking it into the top of the head in that direction. And when you're ready, let that breath out nice and slow. And make this your breath. You don't have to inhale when I inhale. So you don't have to exhale when I exhale. But we just want to keep that flow going and try to make your exhales just a little bit longer than your inhales. Maybe this will calm us down and bring us more into this virtual room. This is so amazing that we have Daly City, California, and Franklin, Tennessee, and Kingston Springs, Tennessee, all connected here virtually doing yoga. This is Elements of Yoga. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and hopefully you'll feel a little bit more centered here. So because we do have a couple people, and you can rest your arms, let's warm up a little bit as I tell you what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to move back just a little bit too. We have 8 different types of poses. If you'll just mimic me, just bring your arms out to the side. You could be sitting on the floor. You could be sitting on a chair, sitting on a couch. If you're sitting in a chair, I would suggest that you come out a little bit closer to the edge of the chair. But now extend the fingers on your right arm way out and extend the fingers on your left arm way out. And you can really feel the upper arms here. So your palms are facing forward. You could either have your fingers close together or spread out. Try it both ways. See what you like best. As we say, it's your yoga. You can do whatever you want here. You can modify any poses and try to make these poses feel good to you. So now bring your fingers together and bring your palms together or close together overhead. And I know you can't see my hands, but my palms are facing each other. And I'm trying to bring my arms near my ears, but I'm also now looking up and maybe bringing my arms back a little bit. My arms were here in the beginning. So we're not killing them. We're not ripping them out of their sockets, but we're just trying to rise up with our arms and our fingertips more and more towards the ceiling. And if you notice, we're kind of coming into a back bend. So now turn your palms out and let those palms come down by your side. We always want to warm up. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears. Lift them up and then take them back as you pinch your shoulder blades together. And you might hear a little audible sounds in your spine, and that might be very good sounds. Just be aware of that. Again, lift your shoulders up. One of the teachers in Linda's studio in the past has said, lift your shoulders up and wear them all like earrings. And take the shoulders back, trying to bring those shoulder blades together, and then letting your arms come down. One more time, lift your shoulders up, back, and down. So there are 8 types of poses that we're gonna do tonight. Lift up your right arm and just very gently lean over to the right, and don't lean forward. Try to actually side bend. Try to side bend, okay? Lift over to the left, and then you want to lift over to the right. So we're going to do some seated poses, standing poses, forward bends, back bends, twists, balancings, side bends and forward bends. I think that's all 8 of them. If not, well, we'll go over them here in a minute. And luckily, there will not be a test on this. And one more time, both your arms up. And let your arms come down by your side. Sit nice and tall and imagine there's a string attached to the very crown of your head. And lift it up towards the ceiling. And you can feel that back trying to straighten out. We got some natural curves, and this puts us into somewhat of a back bend. I want you to just very easily take your right ear to your right shoulder. And you can move your head, if you can move your head comfortably, easily, safely, you can look up and notice if there's any other feeling out here where you might get a little bit more lengthening of the muscles in the neck. And then take your gaze down towards the floor, and you probably can feel those muscles, tendons, and ligaments in your neck. And bring your head up. Again, we're lifting up towards the ceiling, so we're taking the vertebrae in the back and opening them up just a little bit, making a little space between the vertebrae and letting those discs maybe fit in between the vertebrae a little bit better. Take your left ear to your left shoulder and do the same thing. Just see how it feels looking up towards the ceiling. Paying a lot of attention to how your body feels every step of the way, every breath. And we are continuing to breathe through all this. Okay, and bring your head up. Let me just make a quick adjustment to, okay, they're done. Okay, good, great, thank you. Okay, we're gonna come to sitting on the floor. And if you wanna sit on a bolster, that's fine. If you had a bolster to sit on, that would be really fine. Pardon me. So our sitting poses start with what we call easy pose. And easy pose is just that. It's just sitting with crossed legs. And notice how high my knees are. I am sitting on a bolster. If I was sitting flat on the floor, my knees would be higher in relation to my hips. So we can sit here and sit nice and tall. You can grab your ankles if you want to and really help your back get nice and erect. So this is called Sukhasana. Some call it easy pose. And we could sit here for a while doing this, and some people might even be flexible enough to bring your legs up into what we call lotus. I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to do it because I know that today I'm not doing lotus. But if we're going to sit in Sukhasana for a while, and tonight we're not going to, but what we want to do is kind of rear back, change the cross of our legs, and feels a little bit different. Checks the other knees, in this position, and checks our hips. We want to really pay attention to what's going on in our bodies. Another one of the types of poses that we do is a twist. So let's just do a real easy twist. I think that we talked last week about a twist, but let's review. And that's really what we're doing tonight, is trying to do some basic poses for people who have really not done a lot of yoga or don't know much about yoga. And as I like to say, I know just enough to be dangerous. So I will guide you in the right direction, okay? I will. What we want to do is sit nice and tall. We want to reach our arms up. Take a nice breath, inhale. And starting at the waist, we turn the waist to the right. And then we turn the torso. And we turn the shoulders, the neck, and the head. Just be really aware of that. And we exhale. And now as we come back, we're going to reverse that. We're going to unwind by bringing the head around first, then the neck, the shoulders, the torso, the waist, and bring our arms up again, and we inhale. And we twist to the left, starting at the waist and moving up the body into the shoulders, the neck, the head. And you might even take this, in this case, my right arm, and prop it against the leg and just kind of help this twist a little bit. And we full exhale, and we come forward once again, head, neck, shoulders. I believe you're catching on to this. This is good. We're inhaling, and we're exhaling over to the right. And it's really good, I think, to talk to your body as you're doing these things. Okay, head, neck, torso, waist, inhale. And as we exhale, it's the waist turning, then it works up through the shoulders, the neck, the head. And this is a very good warm-up to be doing. It is a type of pose. It's a sitting pose, but also it is a twist. In fact, let's just go ahead and do one more in both directions. We want to go in both directions with all poses. Maybe you're feeling this, just feeling a little bit better. And you could stay twisted for as many breaths as you want to. Maybe it just feels extremely good. And we'll twist over to the left. And we'll come forward. And we'll bring our arms down by our side. So now I want you to extend your legs out front. I think I need to turn this down just a little bit. Okay. Now we really do want to be on the floor. So we're going to sit in a pose that's called Dandasana. It's staff pose or stick pose, some call it. So I'm trying to have my back at a 90-degree angle to my legs, and I'm trying to open up the back of my legs, the back of my knees to touch the mat. And my feet are extended out front, and my toes are pointed back towards my shins. So this is flexing toes and pointing toes. And really stretch them when you're pointing them. Really feel the top of the ankle. I mean, how else do we get into this stretch here? I can't think of anything that we do that encourages our feet to do this. Flex them back, and if you really want to feel this, push out through your heels when you're doing this and have as much of the bottom of your leg on the mat. You can really feel those hamstrings just light up in a good way. So this is Dandasana, and we can do a lot of different things here. As I swing around front, we can take one leg, like let's take our left leg. I'm trying to do that so you can see what I'm doing with my legs. Still got some room to go back here. We take our left leg out, we relax that right leg, and we turn our torso just a little bit towards that foot. And we look at the little toe of that foot there. We sit nice and tall, we reach up, and we inhale, we lengthen as we reach up, and as we exhale, we lean forward. And your lean will probably not look like my lean. This is my yoga. This is what I do. But you know what? There's no comparison. You're not being judged. It's not a contest or a race. Everybody is different. So we're reaching forward. If you had a belt or a tie or a strap, you could wrap it around your foot and help to pull you a little bit closer and maybe increase that bend in the lower back. But what we're doing good here, and we're going to just gradually come back up. We try to stay in a flat back at first as we're going down, and once you feel like you're as far down as your straight back and lets you go, you could start to really, I don't want to use the word slouch, but that's the word I'm going to use, just really lean into the pose there. So let's bring both of our feet back, our legs back in place. Once again, let's point the toes. And let's flex the toes. And let's circle the toes, the feet, in either direction, actually circling the ankles 3 times in one direction and then 3 times in the other direction. And take your right leg out. And you could definitely grab it underneath and take that leg out. So here we do get a little bit of a twist. We're going to reach up and we're going to turn towards that toe. Inhaling, lifting up, reaching up. And as we exhale, we're reaching forward and just stretch and come up. Bring that leg back. Okay, here's the actual knee to nose. We'll leave our right leg just straight out in front of us, and we're going to pick the opposite knee up, bend the knee, and just take the foot and bring it into as high as you can come in here. Now, listen, we have egos, and I know a lot of us men have bigger egos than some women do. You don't need to crank this thing all the way up in your groin. You know, some people are very comfortable with having their foot down on the calf, and that's totally fine. Mine's in a different place every time I do this pose. Got to protect your knees. And of course, again, we can reach up and we can bend forward. This is actually knee to nose or nose to knee. And you can feel that, probably feel a little bit of lengthening in the opposite outside lumbar area of your back. And when you're ready, you can walk your hands back forward. Take a hand and just lift that knee up. Be nice to it and stretch that leg out and help it any way you want to help it. We're not getting any younger. We can certainly help ourselves. Really, if you want to be technical about this, just bring your knee straight back at you and let the knee drop to the outside and do the same thing on the other side. Give it a little love, show it some love. We're going to reach up, inhale, lengthen, and we're going to reach forward. Forward bends are really good for us, and so are back bends. This may be a class that we'll have to continue next week as we are watching the time. Just click off the clock. Keep breathing when you're forward bent like this. Find a natural, comfortable breath pattern. And when you're ready, come up very easily. And any of these poses, if you can find an easier way, a better way to do them, that just feel better to you, try them. Outside the knee, pick it up, extend that leg forward. You do want to challenge yourself. I want to challenge myself in poses. And you might see at some point I'll lose my balance because I pushed myself further than my body's ready to do. So take your hands, grab under your knees, and bring your legs together and bring the soles of your feet together. And and you can grab the ankle. Some people might have just the right anatomy configuration to where they could grab the toes and be able to sit up nice and tall. And let me encourage you, because we do want to try to activate every muscle, every ligament, every joint, every part of the body in a class. And you got to do a lot of poses to do that usually. What I want to encourage you to do is reach down. Hopefully your feet are clean enough that you feel safe to do this. And I understand that if you don't want to do this, but take your hands and open your feet. You want to keep your little toes touching and your heels touching. It's like opening up a book and reading out of it. Now, if you can keep your feet open like that, you can certainly put your hands behind you just to prop you up nice. But when we're in this pose, you're probably feeling this way up your leg where your femur plugs into your hip socket. Pretty amazing. And notice, let the feet touch now, soles touch. And now open them up even if you have to reach down there to do that. And let them come together. Grab outside the knees, bring the knees up. One more thing that we can do with the feet. Think about spreading your toes out. I've been working on it for a while, and there's a little bit of daylight between them, but not a whole lot. And some people just spread their toes out like this. It's pretty crazy. But this is a really good exercise too, because this is using muscles that you can feel it in your feet. It really feels good. Okay, so we're continuing with the sitting poses. Let's do one more, because this works the core. Either scoot forward or bring your feet back. I don't want to bump into the wall. But what we're going to do is just pick our feet up, and you can hold your knees if you want to. Anybody out there who is having some kind of back issues or have chronic back issues, just listen to your body, and if this doesn't feel good, make an adaptation. It's okay to put your feet on the floor during this. What we want to do, and you can put your hands under your legs. Can you bend your legs and bring them to where your lower part of the legs are parallel to the floor? And maybe you can extend your legs out. And maybe you can actually let go, and legs can be extended out. And some people like to be a little more challenging and drop their legs down, drop their arms out. Yes, I'm shaking like a leaf because my muscles are firing. And I'm going to bring them up and bring it all back in. And you can do that a couple times, and your core will talk to you for a couple of days, but that's good for you too. So go ahead and extend your legs back out. Let's come to our feet. However, the easiest way is for us to come to our feet. And last week we did discuss a flow or a vinyasa. See, I need to see the ceiling. Maybe I need to push back. Okay. Got about 10 more minutes here to show these. So stand in mountain pose. And mountain pose is when your feet, say these are your feet, they're not like this, but they're like this, to where the sides of the feet are really running alongside the parallel to the edge of your mat. Your feet are about shoulder width apart, and this is Tadasana, mountain pose. And when we're in this pose, it's a starting pose for, really the starting pose for standing poses. And we want to inhale and just reach up. I'm trying to bring my arms back to where they're next to my ears or in that vicinity. And you can challenge yourself here by coming up on tiptoes if you want to. Work the calves a little bit. And come back down and bring your arms out and down. So another type of pose we do is a forward bend. So let's do this Tadasana, and the reaching up is called Urdhva Hastasana. It's just reaching for the ceiling. Fingertips are up towards the ceiling, unless your ceiling is not quite high enough. So inhale and reach up. Again, if you want to come to tiptoes, that's fine, and come back to your flat feet. Your inhale is full, and then start to exhale as you stick your bottom out and bring your shoulders forward and just swan dive. Look at you off the high dive. And you thought you couldn't do the high dive. Come all the way down. You can have soft knees. That means you're not straight-legged it. You can work your knees a little bit. You can grab your elbows. You can even stick your fingers under your toes. And just keep working to straighten those legs. Now we want to come halfway up. So what we want to do is just bring your hands up and come to a place to where you feel, and a lot of this is feeling, you feel that your spine is in a fairly horizontal
direction, like we could put a cup of water on it and it wouldn't spill. And what we also want to do, we want to take the tailbone and push it back behind us while we reach forward with the crown of our head, so we lengthen the spine. And this is a half forward bend. Take a couple of breaths in this pose. Another one, inhale when you're ready. And when you exhale, come back down into your forward bend. And when you're in that flat back pose, try to really straighten your legs. Let's come up to that flat back one more time and inhale. And come up. Slowly, slowly, standing. And a lot of times we'll connect all these poses together, but we're really demonstrating them tonight. Okay, so we're standing in mountain pose. Our feet are basically hip width apart. Got a message here that we're running out of time, and it gives me just less than 10 minutes. So our feet are hip width apart. We're standing nice and tall. And you can either walk, jump, step your feet out. And you could do it to where you had your arms in front of you, or if you had a block in your hands, you'd have it in front of you. And you could jump out. And right now my feet are about 3 feet apart. You figure what feels good to you. One day, 3 feet might feel good. The next day, 4 feet might feel good. Another day, it might feel like you don't want to even get those legs more than maybe body width apart. So we're in this pose. We got nice straight legs. And I want you to really pay attention to your feet. Observe. Make any adjustments you need to make. Put your hands on your hips. And just, can you just bend forward? Notice the buttocks probably goes out to the back. And can you keep coming down into your forward bend? This is an inversion, but it's also a forward bend. And you bring your legs, bring your hands down on your legs. And if you want, you can put your hands on the floor. You can put them on a block or a pillow or books, whatever. Some people might be able to put their hands flat on the floor, put their palms on the floor. You could also walk this out. And this is where you really just want to pay attention to what your body's telling you. Hopefully it's saying, man, I like this stuff. And you can move your feet, turn your feet in, take your heels in, take your heels out. Really feel that stretch in the back of your legs from the calf all the way up to the hamstrings, really all the way up to the hip. And you could walk yourself out. Now, push back. Try to push your hands away from you and try to lift your tailbone up. You may not lift it up, you don't think, but I think the word might be synergistically. You might be in a synergistically way lifting your bottom up. You're just not aware of it because you don't feel the physical feeling. But we're pushing back in what we call a wide-legged down dog. Nice stretch. And walk your hands back. You can bend your knees a little bit. Stay low because we are in a forward bend. And the blood is all rushed to our head. So we want to get up slowly. Walk your hands up your legs very slowly. Stop where you need to stop. You'll finally get up to the top. Hands on your hips. And you can either heel and toe, walk, or jump your feet back together to mountain pose. Okay? We will definitely tie these poses together in future classes. So we got about 5 minutes now. The way we like to end a class is by lying down on our mats And probably a lot of you have seen a bridge pose or done a bridge pose. Let me turn down again. My cameraman didn't show up for work today, so I've had, no, it's not your responsibility. So bridge pose requires us to lie down and bring your heels towards your buttocks. Your arms are extended and they're by your side with the palms down. And we just very easily push down with our feet, which lifts our hips up, and we can actually engage the core by pulling the navel towards the spine, and it will lift us up, lift us up, lift us up. The backbone, the spine comes up off of the mat, starting way, way, way low in the low back. It comes way up, and we come up into our bridge pose. Now you might consider in the future, if we do bridge pose, we could take a block and we could put the block underneath us and have a supported bridge pose. In fact, we could have 2 blocks, but we have to make sure it's placed under our sacrum, under our tailbone. And this is a supported shoulder stand. Yeah, I said shoulder stand. I know. I do like the feeling of a bridge pose. It's a great back bend. You could take your arms up overhead if you wanted to and extend them on the floor up above you, above your head. And you could pump this up and down very easily, very slowly, coming back to your spine being back down on the floor. You could do what Linda likes to teach, a slow moving bridge. And I may not teach it like she does, but it is a very slow thing coming up where you lift your pelvis up and then your spine very gradually comes up off the mat and you come up into your full bridge. And you could stay here for a while. One thing that I've read about a bridge pose is you might consider trying to relax your glutes, the muscles, the 3 muscles in each side of your butt. Try to release your glutes, because really and truly what's your core is holding you up here, but also you're pushing down with your feet is holding you up here. So it is the strength of your core, which actually runs from your knees to your shoulders. There's a lot more muscles than the glutes that are helping you stay in this pose. So when you're ready, very slowly, see if you can come down 1 vertebrae at a time. I've been working on it for a few years, and it's a real, real slow come down. And you may not feel the vertebrae, but the idea is just to start up towards the neck, the cervical area, and just bring that spine down just a little bit at a time. And eventually you get down to where as much of your spine that's coming down to earth comes down to earth. And I had a nice little pop in doing that. So we have a few moments that we can bend our knees. In fact, why don't we bring our knees towards our shoulders and take our heads up towards our feet and extend our legs up nice and tall. You could flex your toes. In other words, bring them back towards the shins as you push out through the heels. Can't see my clock. Okay, we're still good. Point your toes and flex your toes. Why don't you take one leg down towards the floor, as close to the floor as you can get, and take your other leg as far towards your head as you possibly can. And reverse that. It doesn't matter how much, it just matters that you're doing it. Because a lot of this is just getting the feeling with your mind, body awareness, feeling your toes,
feeling your knees, feeling your neck, maybe even feeling a hair on your head. And bring both your legs up high. And now you could bend your knees if you want to, or just bring your legs down, extended, very slowly and gracefully down to the floor. And now let your legs relax. Take your arms and make sure they're extended down by your side with the palms down. And this is our relaxation time, our Shavasana. In a 1-hour class, we usually have an extra 15 minutes for this rest time. And for some people, it may be the only rest they get through the day. But if you can imagine a nice, warm or cool, whatever feels better to you, but a sensation coming up through your feet and coming up through your legs and into your trunk and up all the way into your shoulders and out your arms through the fingertips. And that wonderful soothing sensation comes through your neck and into your jaw and your cheeks and your eyeballs.